Welcome to the Ultraflex Fantasy Football Podcast, where we have fun with our friends while we talk about football. I am your host, Anthony David Sutton. With me are my friends Ryan Wheeler
Howdy.
and Robert Green.
What's up?
How's everyone doing today? Happy Wednesday night. How was your day so far?
So are we sharing our middle name like every other podcast?
Yeah, I gotta-
So we got mine last one, yours this one, and Rob next.
Slowly get them out there. Let the people know who they're listening to.
Got it. I like it.
We are going to start off again by doing something a little lighthearted to start the podcast. We are going to rank our top three fast food chains. So I went first last time. I'll let one of you guys go ahead and go first this time. So Ryan, you look eager and ready to rock and roll. So go ahead.
Do we want to go one at a time and just do our threes, then our twos, and our ones?
Ooh.
I like it.
Alternate picks.
All right. I did a little different, though. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this, but all right.
We didn't classify fast food, so I think we're going to have some differing opinions here. But let's start it off.
All right. So the way I did it was actually I did a burger place, a sub place, and a taco place. So I don't really know how I'm going to order them worst to favorite, although tacos are my favorite, so I guess I'll do that one last as my top. So my third, I'll go with Five Guys as my burger place. I don't know, man. I like the burgers just top every other joint, and they fill your bag up with fries. Like, I love fries, and what's better than going in and getting a burger? They put your fries in there and just fill the whole bag. I love it.
It's good. It's pretty pricey.
I'm a little concerned. I was picking non-fast food places, but if you're starting off with Five Guys, then I know I'm good. So I'm excited. I agree with you. I don't disagree. But some people
Five Guys have a drive-through.
See, some people think fast food is
only
only drive-through.
I feel like that could be like the distinguishing factor is does it have a drive-through?
If it has to have a drive-through, then I'm gonna go with Steak and Shake. It's like a southern place, and that's
disgusting.
It's so good. Oh man, I got some nostalgia there too, though, so that helps.
All right, my number 3 is Chick-fil-A. Something about God's chicken and their French fries, their waffle fries are just so good. Their Chick-fil-A sauce on top of that and the honey mustard. Chick-fil-A is easily in the top 3 for me, coming in at number 3.
Is that something that they coined? Like, they have God's chicken?
It's very popular. It's very popular in the South. It's pretty known as God's chicken.
They're like closed on Sundays too, right?
Yeah,
they are.
Okay. Well, for my number 3, it's a taco place. I'm going with Taco Bell. I don't eat there a lot, but I love tacos, so it had to make my list. Number 3.
I'm with you, brother.
I don't want to potentially ruin your list, but Taco Bell ahead of Mighty. Don't answer if I'm ruining your list.
Don't answer. All right. So number 2 for me. Like I said, I went subs next, and I don't know any drive-through places that do subs, but fast food to me is just somewhere you can go in, get food relatively cheap, and leave. You don't sit down and eat typically. You just go in, get it in a bag, walk out. Even though it's kind of like everywhere now thanks to COVID, but I'm going to go with Firehouse Subs, and I don't know if that's something that's like everywhere or if that's just local, but in Western New York, but holy moly.
They're a national chain.
Oh, they are so good. They're subs.
Yeah, they're done here.
Well, that's my number 2 as well. So we'll just throw that out there.
Let's go.
Wow.
Love Firehouse Subs.
Nice. Yeah, and they are supporting local firemen, so you can't really beat that. That is good. Number 2 for me is Chipotle. Something about the Chipotle bowl getting tortilla on the side, making that into a little taco, burrito. The amount of food that you get for $9 or $10, can't beat it.
Bro, I went to Chipotle like 2 weeks ago with my wife, and we were so disappointed. I might never go back. Like, maybe it was just the local one, and the people working there were not happy to be working there, but it was like awful. So I can't agree with you there, but
you'll have to give it another shot.
I haven't eaten there enough to have an opinion, so I'll sit this one out.
I've only gone there twice, but
I think I've had it one time in my life. So,
all right, numero uno.
Anthony ruined it. It's Mighty Taco for me. Mighty Taco. I love some Mighty Taco. Oh my god, they had the carne alada. I think it's like seasonal now, but it has like 5 different meats on it. Get some rice, some sour cream, some avocado, guacamole. Oh man, now we're talking.
I didn't know you were such a big Mighty fan, or else I wouldn't have said anything.
I'm a huge Mighty fan, and the nachos and queso, yes.
They have queso now, or are you just talking about the cheese, like the yellow?
I don't know. Queso is the Spanish word for cheese. I thought that.
I think it's just like nacho cheese.
Yeah, I'll say like queso is different than that yellow cheese that they give you.
Yeah, I would agree.
I just went straight up Spanish then. I was just talking cheese, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, you're right. Like, queso is cheese. But when I think of queso, I usually think of something that's like more white peppers inside of it, like spicy.
Isn't that white queso? Like, I thought that was a specific type of queso.
I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, you can't go wrong with Mighty. I agree. Number one for me is a sub place. It's Jersey Mike's. Mike's Way. To me, the freshness of the food is the best of any fast food place. So number one for me, Jersey Mike's.
Anthony doesn't like to support the local firemen. So
no, I'm a bad person.
I just had Jersey Mike's for the first time like a few weeks ago. It was good. I was impressed.
Yeah, to me, the juices and the spices that they put on there makes the sub.
Called Italian dressing and
oil.
No,
you've never been to Jersey Mike's.
All right, for my number one, I went with the iconic choice, I suppose you could say. I just chose McDonald's, and it might not be the best, but they're everywhere. You can always find one. It's dependable. Everybody has their McDonald's order. They have a nice, cheap dollar menu. So that's my choice for number one. And their fries are good. One of my favorites. So
I can't argue that. It's McDonald's. I mean,
yeah, so I'm not going to argue. Our new thing is to go to the park on a Saturday morning and then stop at McDonald's and grab a sausage McGriddle or McMuffin or whatever. And then never totally disappointed.
You can always find a McDonald's when you need one.
You're going the McGriddle, right?
Honestly, I don't even remember.
It's the one with like pancake with the syrup.
Oh no, McMuffin.
Oh, dude, you gotta change that up next time.
Yeah, the McGriddle's the way to go.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll have to try it out on Saturday. But all right, cool. So we will jump into our draft. 2 episodes ago, we were doing our Ultraflex Drafts, which again is a quarterback, 8 position players. Doesn't matter if it's a running back or a receiver or a tight end. You can start any of them in that slot. And then a super flex. So majority of the teams are going to start 2 quarterbacks. Last time we gave an update, we were in the middle of the 4th round. We were able to finish that draft. There were 28 or 27 rounds, so it was a long draft.
It was 28.
Yeah, we were able to finish it, and we'll go over our first 10 or 11 picks, let you know kind of where our team is heading into the season. So Ryan, want to start us off? And
yeah, I do. So I started off the draft with Kyler Murray. I made I felt like I made 15 trades this draft. I was just all over the place. Kyler Murray, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Marquise Brown, Devonta Smith. I went with a rookie, and I never draft Titans because I feel like if they bust or they don't do well, then I end up with a double negative. So I try to go at least win-win. So if they stink and they're a Titan, then I can go, well, at least I didn't draft them. But I drafted Treylon Burks. I went Gabe Davis, Brandon Ayuk, Chase Claypool, Jared Goff, and Deshaun Watson was the other quarterback that I took. This is super flex. So I did have to take like a Jared Goff later in the draft to cover me for this year in case Watson is suspended for the whole year. And I basically went all tight ends and wide receivers. That was my strategy. I don't like drafting running backs, and in the Ultraflex format, we don't have to. And I will say at the end here, I did grab. I advised that people take Malik Willis, like in the 10th round, and I followed my own advice. I was not going to pass on Malik that late for the future potential.
Was there any player that you got to draft that you maybe thought they wouldn't be there in that round? Like, I just asked that because to me, to get Gabe Davis in the 7th round is a good get. To get Mike Gesicki, however we want to pronounce it, in the 13th round in a tight end premium is a good get. Was there anything that stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, Gabe Davis, I think technically because of ADP, I reached on him a little bit, but we were in a draft with a few Buffalo Bills fans, so I wanted to make sure I snuck up there and grabbed him early. Other than that, I wasn't like elated. I mean, awkwardly, Deshaun Watson fell to the 3rd round, and I had to trade up to grab him. I just felt like the value there was unreal. But other than that, like I said, I think Malik Willis was the guy that I was super happy to get where I got him.
Cool. Rob, what about you?
All right, so I'll recap my first 3 rounds that we talked about last episode. I had Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, and Devontae Adams. And since then, I had in the 4th round, I finally took a quarterback. I got Derek Carr. 5th round, I followed it up with a rookie. I took Drake London. I don't know if it was the first rookie taken. Breece Hall probably was off the board by then.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah, he went 3-9.
Okay, so probably was the 2nd rookie taken there. I think Ryan took Treylon Burks right after I took London, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. I followed up London with my 2nd quarterback, Kirk Cousins, and another rookie, Jameson Williams. Got another wide receiver, Jameson Williams. Oh, I just said that, didn't I?
That's all right. You got 2 Jameson Williams, dude. You're loaded.
I wish I could. I'm trying to follow this because they're a little out of order in my slots here. Amari Cooper was my next pick, followed by A.J. Dillon. Then took my 3rd quarterback, Matt Ryan. And let's go a couple more picks. I had Pat Freiermuth, Rondell Moore, Tyler Lockett, Naheem Hines. I think that's about the extent of the guys we should even bring up today. So I went for a little mix of both younger and older wide receivers. Obviously, I had the studs at the top with Chase, Diggs, and Adams. And I tried to balance that out with a few younger guys in London and Williams who could hopefully hit their potential and help fill those slots that might be necessary once Adams and Diggs are kind of falling down. So that was my thought process there. I was happy to get Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins, though, where I did. I got Carr at the end of the 4th and Cousins at the end of the 6th. So
I feel like you got steals on both those guys. I was like, I remember telling you like earlier in the draft, like, dude, that'd be crazy if you can get Carr and Cousins, and somehow we actually ended up getting both of them.
Yeah, it's like I was telling you, it's like the Cousins of the AFC and the Carr of the NFC, right? They're like the same guy.
They're the same player, it feels like.
Yeah. So that was a nice get for waiting, 4 rounds on quarterback. I was happy to come out with those 2 guys. And then Matt Ryan a little bit later just to fill the bye weeks.
Absolutely.
Before I
play the matchups.
Before I go through my team, was there any strategy that you had to like change halfway through the draft or even at the start of the draft that you maybe weren't expecting to?
Yeah, I didn't really. I kind of wanted to have Ryan's strategy. I didn't want to take a running back, but then AJ Dillon kept falling, and I just thought his potential to take over that backfield outweighed the me not wanting a running back on my team. So I grabbed him. I only took a couple more running backs, but like I said, I took Naheem Hines late round 14, which at that point I think was a steal. So besides that, I mostly was just filling up my team with wide receivers, and I took Pat Frymuth at tight end, and I think I had Trey McBride was my only other one. So it was mostly wide receivers for me.
That's the way to go.
Cool. Kind of recap of my first 3 picks. I had Dak Prescott 1-8. I originally had the 3rd overall pick, traded back to 1-8. Javonte Williams with my 2nd pick, and then AJ Brown with my 3rd pick. And then 4th round, I was able to grab Michael Pittman. In the 4th round, I was actually contemplating taking Pittman or Scary Terry, and Scary Terry was still there at 5'3", so I grabbed him. Followed by Rashad Bateman at 6'5". So that was the trade that we talked about last time, or maybe it was 2 episodes ago, where I traded back from 1-3 to 1-8. So that trade ended up being Dak Prescott and Rashad Bateman for Patrick Mahomes, which I don't know I would do in a established league, but in order to get pretty essentially an extra starter of Rashad Bateman, I guess I'm not too disappointed with. Darren Waller was after that, and then I got some younger guys in Chris Olave, Christian Watson, and then I got my 2nd quarterback of Jameis Winston, and I also got Baker Mayfield right after that to make sure I at least had a couple options at quarterback. And then probably the last notable pick worth mentioning was Dawson Knox. So a couple tight ends mixed in there, a couple young guys, a couple older guys. And that was kind of my strategy going in, was try to create a now team, but also have some options if it goes south.
You must You must be an avid Ultraflex fantasy football podcast listener, going and grabbing Jameis Winston as your 2nd QB, taking that advice from.
I pretty much, because if you think about it, I had Brown, Pittman, Scary Terry, Bateman. So I had 4 of our, I know we were discussing earlier about updating our rankings, but our initial consensus rankings, I had 4 of our top 17 receivers, and I had Jameis Winston, who you were talking about and very high on. So I pretty much just listened to our podcast on repeat, and that's how I drafted.
I think the 3 of us cleaned up a lot of our top wide receivers.
Yeah, I did notice that also.
Ryan, did you have any strategy other than avoid running back?
Yeah, it was avoid old people also, and I think I did a really good job of that.
Yeah, I think this draft I was telling you the average ages. I think yours was the youngest by like a full year. Yours was like 24.2 or something like that for average age.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, like, when you make you complete a draft like that, and yet I still feel like I can compete this year. Like, to have a team that young and feel like I have a chance. It's an outside chance because my team's young. Obviously, none of my players are in their prime. I feel like I should be good for a long time.
Was there any team? We won't name names. Were there any teams that had a different strategy than you would maybe have yourself?
Personally,
I'll go first because my brother is in this league, and he actually sent me a text because I told him I was going to talk smack about his decision making. So he sent me a breakdown of why he did what he did. So he had the 12th pick. So he had 1.12 to start off, and he started off with getting Russell Wilson with that pick, and he actually ended up trading. I don't have the trade in front of me, but he ended up trading for Josh Allen. So at first he was taking Russell Wilson and Stafford and Kelsey, but then also trading back So I think we even mentioned or said something before one of our episodes, like, why is he taking older people and then getting draft picks? But then he said he kind of shifted his mentality, traded for Josh Allen, and then got a bunch of younger guys, and he still has 2 firsts and 2 seconds next year, and then 2 firsts and 2 seconds the year after that. So at first, I was questioning his decision making, but now after he kind of laid that out for me, I think he has a pretty solid foundation to move forward with, and he also has James Cook, Allen Robinson, kind of a mixture of people that are going to produce now.
I got the trade here for you. It ended up being Russell Wilson, Travis Kelce, a 23 first and a 24 first for Josh Allen.
Yes. He had, I think at one point he had like 3 2023 first round picks, and then like 2 or 3 2024 first round picks. So to package those together and get arguably the best dynasty quarterback there isn't the worst move in the world.
It's not really arguably. He is the best.
Yeah, for the last 2 years.
What I'm most interested to see as far as other teams is how it'll work out for the teams who went very running back heavy. More so starting next year versus this year.
I personally want to. Well, first of all, I wanted to say something about your brother Anthony. I at one point in the draft, I sent him a trade offer, and he responded and he goes, "Wow, I bet you thought real hard about that, didn't you?" I was like, "Damn, man, I thought that was a pretty fair offer." Like,
well, was it one of your crazy offers where you have like 9 moving pieces?
Yes.
Wow. I probably would have the same response, or I would have just looking at it.
I was just like, man, all right, well, that's cool, whatever. Not for everybody. I get it. The one team that I want to call out, because he told me in our chat in the league that we should roast every one of these teams. That's J Post. I'm gonna go at my man J Post with his team, and I'm not gonna roast him because I don't think he did a bad job, but he did go running back heavy with Miles Sanders, Chase Edmonds, Ramondre Stevenson as 3 of his projected starting players. And then he went like Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, which I personally love Jalen Hurts, and obviously everyone loves Patrick Mahomes, but I think Jalen Hurts is going to be around for a while. So I think those were 2 fantastic picks.
Yeah, I think he's the only one who started QB, right?
I would say he's got Mahomes, Hurts, and Lawrence.
Yeah, he went Lawrence too.
I mean, he's definitely got some trade bait if he wants to offload one of those guys.
The thing is I think he's going to need it. Like his one of his top 5 players, maybe. Well, like I guess not. He just has him up on his roster. But Marquez Valdez-Scantling is someone that he's planning on starting, probably week in, week out, until Kenneth Walker comes into his own, I suppose. But that's not a guy that I'd want in my starting lineup. Like Ramondre Stevenson's not a guy that I don't want to start Patriot running backs. Chase Edmonds, I think he's the starting running back in Miami, and he was paid to be, but I feel like they're also going to use a committee. Miles Sanders just hasn't lived up to the potential. Like, good team. I just hope that he wins, like, now, or he might be in trouble with the running backs that he grabbed.
I feel bad for a few of the teams that were at the end of the draft and decided not to go quarterback, because there's a few of them that have not the best quarterback options, like Mac Jones, Davis Mills, and Daniel Jones as your quarterback options, while the rest of the team,
well, Tony just cut out
very solid because they went.
Yeah, those 3 early running backs look good with Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon. Let's see if the QBs can keep them afloat.
There's one more guy one more guy that I want to call out because he specifically looked like he didn't want to be called out on the podcast, and that's Haledale, 388. He his quarterbacks are Tua Tagovailoa, Marcus Mariota, Joe Flacco, Teddy Bridgewater, Zach Wilson, and Mike White. And man, I bet you he was pooping his pants when Zach Wilson went down. But he also was one of the teams that went very RB heavy. He had he started off with DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, Swift first pick. Yep.
Cam Akers, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like, those guys are starting in his lineup, and they're going to have to be his starters for a while. He has, like, the youth and Garrett Wilson, and he grabbed Kyle Pitts, so that was a great pick, I think. Mike Evans, the older player. And then
Kyle Pitts was his first pick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Swift was second.
Yeah, so good luck, brother.
There were more trades in this draft than any draft I've ever been a part of. Like, even if you look at our draft board, you can't even, like, typically you can just go up and down. Like, you have to, like, bounce all over the place.
Hey, and that was with like two guys saying they wouldn't make any startup trades at all, too, right? So
that's how I love seeing
pretty solid work by the other 8 or 9 people there.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some Rise Buys and Rob's Blobs. So this is our version of buy and sell. So last time we started with sell. This time we'll start with buy. Rye, who is your buy?
Well, that was a lot of buy rise and blobs. Okay, so there was an obvious choice to me as a rise buy, someone who didn't play well last year, maybe was hurt, and now there's a couple, honestly, that I think would have been just too easy. Guys like Allen Robinson, Michael Thomas.
Actually, hang on, I'm going to cut you off because I forgot. I didn't do a good job of hosting. I didn't even explain the buy sell segment. So this is people that are, I guess, would be potential comeback player of the year. So someone that was either hurt last year or had a down year that Ryan thinks is going to have a very good year, and then vice versa for Rob, someone that had a monster year or a very good year that will have a not as good year. So now I apologize, and I'll pass it back.
All right. So the guy that, like I said, Allen Robinson and Michael Thomas would have been the easy picks for this, but I went someone super deep in your league, someone that you can trade. It looks like right here I have him for a 23 fourth. I looked this up on DLF's Trade Finder. This player for a 23 fourth. This player for Kendrick Bourne or Brian Edwards, or someone used this player, a 203 and the 111 to move up to the 107. So I'm talking like free, this guy. And I've had a crush for years on this player. And his name is Curtis Samuel. Now, like I said, he's free. So the best part about this, if you go trade for him, is you're paying like nothing for him. So if he stinks it up, you cut him. He was free. Who cares? Move on. But the potential of Curtis Samuel, when he was in Carolina, he was the wide receiver 36 in 2019 and the wide receiver 25 in 2020. He averaged 100 targets in those 2 years, and then he got the bag when he went to Washington. He got 3 years, $34.5 million with $23 million guaranteed. This dude has the potential. They're trying to keep him healthy through camp because obviously he had the injury last year that took him out pretty much the entire year. He was pretty much useless. That's why
could never get healthy.
Right. And if he can get healthy, this guy has the potential to be a wide receiver 2. I mean, a low end wide receiver 2. I wouldn't say he'd be top, especially with Carson Wentz as quarterback, but certainly a top end wide receiver 3. But he's being drafted as a wide receiver 7 right now. He's currently the wide receiver 83 going in sleeper drafts. And I thought it was funny. The wide receiver 83 last year was Freddie Swain from the Seahawks, for those who, yeah, exactly. He had 25 catches on 40 targets for 343 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's Freddie Swain's stats. So that's what Samuel needs to do to hit his ADP at the wide receiver position that he's being drafted.
Wow.
Which is absolutely ridiculous for a guy who, even in 2018, he finished as the wide receiver 49. So this guy, he's almost guaranteed to hit that mark better than a wide receiver 83 if he's playing. So go buy yourself some Curtis Samuel.
I like it.
Hey, he's cheap enough.
So cheap.
Who else is Washington going to throw the ball to other than Scary Terry?
John
Dotson, yeah.
I mean, but most people are having at least 3 receivers now, so if
and
not
he's
4.
a rookie, so it's hard to tell if he's actually going to be anything good or not.
All right, I like it. Let's rise by. Rob, who do you have for your blob?
All right, my Rob's blob today finished as the RB5 last year, despite only rushing for 752 yards on 202 carries. That would be James Conner, running back from the Arizona Cardinals. He had 3.72 yards per carry last year, which is not good. So how did he end up as the RB5? You're probably wondering. Well, he scored 18 total touchdowns last year, 15 of those on the ground. That is going to be very tough to duplicate, especially with them bringing in Marquise Brown. They're probably going to air it out a little bit more.
Also,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, also, you think about like players that get injured often, and obviously you can't project injuries into fantasy stats typically, but he's a guy that's almost guaranteed to miss games.
Yeah, so he played in a career-high 15 games last season.
Ooh.
So if he goes back to what he's typically been, he's probably going to miss at least 3 games, if not more. Let's see. What else did I have on him? Last year, he had a career high of 9.62 yards per target in the receiving game, which was over 2 yards higher than his previous career high. So it felt like an outlier. I know he did switch teams from Pittsburgh to Arizona, but I think we'll see that come back a little bit more. He had 39 targets. Maybe he keeps that, but if he does, I would expect the yardage to drop from 375 down a little bit. So if you halved his TDs to 9 from 18 and kept everything else the same from last year, he would have finished as the RB20.
Wow.
So
that's a cool stat.
Yeah. He's going to be very touchdown dependent again this year. And I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't want to count on him duplicating that 18 touchdowns.
Certainly not. And also, I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but he's 27 years old. I get out from running backs when they're 26, typically, if I can. So
that too.
Yeah.
Awesome. I like it. Now it is time to spin the wheel. We'll be doing 1 spin the wheel today, possibly 2, depending on how long we take on the first one. And then we're actually going to do a special episode where we spin the remainder of the wheels. That way we can get to every team before the season starts. So I see Rob's got the wheel up. Let's go ahead and fire it up.
You didn't hold that note near as long as I was hoping you would, but that was pretty good still. Thanks for bringing us in, bro.
Spin the wheel.
And you just lost. Big money, big money, big money, big money, big money.
Uh-oh. No, come on.
Are you serious? Oh, my God.
We were sitting on the Buffalo Bills, ready to pick them to win the Super Bowl and get the number 1 seed, but instead we got the Carolina Panthers.
We get Anthony's hometown team now.
No.
I had to big money that wheel because you held that note forever.
I was going to say, I guess we have to do a second one today no matter what, just so you could hold the note a little longer, but we might not have time now with how long you just held that note. Jeez.
So we'll have to go back and see if I can hold it longer the second time. Baker starting for the Panthers. Well, I guess he started game 1. They haven't officially announced it, but
He's going to be the
Ryan,
starter, right?
yeah, you don't trade for him to sit him. So, Ryan, who do you? I mean, we talked about DJ Moore. We've talked about Christian McCaffrey before. Who are you most interested in when it comes to the Carolina Panthers?
I feel like we've discussed this team at like one of the first episodes when Baker went to Carolina, and I remember saying that DJ Moore was like the only piece on that offense that I'm interested in. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, but if we're talking about guys that you're looking to buy, I mean, CMC is still being valued as like the RB 1 or 2, which to me is asinine.
Tough to buy.
Yeah, I don't know how you buy that when he's 26 years old.
Unless you're a contender and you feel he's your final piece.
Right.
And even then, I think I'd want to wait mid-season to make sure he's healthy. I don't know that I'm buying him now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think DJ Moore is the guy to target on that team. I mean, maybe Baker Mayfield.
I would say Baker. I think I could see an argument for targeting Baker as your quarterback 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great advice, Rob. That's exactly what I did in our draft. I would second that.
Perfect. I like it.
Any interest in Robbie Anderson, Terrence Marshall, Tommy Tremble, any of those guys?
Marshall, yeah. I mean, because he's free also. He's a lot like Curtis Samuel. You get him for free, see if anything happens. If he breaks out, cool. If not, cut him.
I'm not sure I'm too interested in him. Maybe as just a throw-in if somebody wants to get rid of him. Robbie Anderson, I'm not actively going out to try to buy him. But again, if somebody wants to toss him in and he's like my last end-of-bench player, someone you can cut bait with early during the season if he's struggling, I'm fine with that.
Robbie Anderson really broke my heart last year. I was very high.
Yeah, you had high hopes for him last year.
I made a beer bet with Rob. It was he had DJ Moore and I had Robbie Anderson, and we basically made the bet that like if Moore finishes as the wide receiver 2 and Robbie Anderson finishes as a wide receiver 1, then he has to shotgun 1 beer. So it was basically the difference in finishes would be the deciding factor on how many shotguns we have to do for a beer.
I believe DJ Moore was a wide receiver 2 and Robbie Anderson just squeaked to a 5. Was that what it was?
I think he was like a wide receiver 48, wasn't he? So he was the wide receiver. He was a wide receiver 4.
It could have been. Yeah, I'd have to double check.
Yeah, but so I have to shotgun. I'm gonna look this up right now. He was the wide receiver 48. So at some point, I stopped drinking, and now I have to shotgun 2 beers. So they're gonna have to be like Michelob Ultras or something.
Yeah, those 2 are going to do you in.
Yeah.
Any interest in stashing Chuba Hubbard if you have a deep roster, just in case McCaffrey gets hurt?
No, I'm not even sure he's the handcuff. I don't think he was good last year. I'd have more interest in Deonta Foreman. They brought him in, I think, specifically to carry the load if McCaffrey goes down.
You were in my head there. Yeah, I agree.
Hopefully CMC stays healthy. All right, let's go ahead and pick it. So you guys will pick. I'll be the tiebreaker. We got Carolina Panthers hosting the Cleveland Browns week 1.
Panthers.
Yeah, I think that Baker Mayfield revenge game will be sweet for him. Give me the Panthers.
At the New York Giants week 2.
Giants.
Giants are not looking good right now. But I'm also not picking the Panthers to start 2-0, I don't think. Oh. Yeah, give me the home team. I'll take the Giants.
1-1. Home against the New Orleans Saints.
Saints. Jameis Winston goes off for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns.
I'm not going to back you up on that, but I will still take the Saints.
Coward.
They're 1-2. Home against Arizona.
Yeah, I'll go Arizona.
Cardinals.
1-3. 3 home games. home again against San Francisco.
49ers.
Are we really going to have them lose all three, though? Like, they
Yeah.
probably win one of those, but
I
I'll
don't-
take the 49ers.
At the Los Angeles Rams.
Rams.
And this is a tough stretch. Rams. Baker might lose his job. Jeez.
Home against the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Bucks.
Yeah, I'll take the Bucks.
1-6 going to Atlanta.
I'll go
Okay.
Carolina here.
Yeah, Panthers there.
2-6 going to Cincinnati.
I'm gonna go Bengals. Can you even be
Bengals.
upset though if you're is a Matt Rule the head coach there? Like,
Yeah.
obviously you're fighting for your job. You just got Baker, but you just had like a super tough stretch. Are you not going to bench Baker for Darnold at that point? Are you?
Probably not.
No, I wouldn't.
If anything, you do it for Matt Corral, right? The rookie.
That would be interesting.
He might, if they're sitting at, well, we'll see. The bye week's coming up at week 13.
This is their only primetime game. It's a Thursday night home against Atlanta.
Whoa, skip it.
That's a bad
I'll take-
prime game.
Give me the Panthers.
I'm going to go
home team.
Atlanta.
I'm going to go with the Panthers. I think Atlanta has a chance to be one of the worst teams in the league. Well, obviously Carolina will be too, but I think at home they win that game and go to 3-7, and then they travel to Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm going to go Baltimore.
Ravens for me as well.
3-8 home against Denver.
Denver.
Broncos.
3-9. They got a bye week.
So yeah,
late
3-9
one.
at the bye. Do you bench Baker at this point?
Yes.
Probably, right? You go to the rookie. You got to go to the rookie.
Dude, Baker is set up to fail. Like, after seeing the schedule, I do not like this for Baker at all.
I think they have to start 3-0. I think they would have to beat Cleveland. They could beat the Giants, so that could be 2-0. And I think that third game of the year against the Saints is going to be a big one, because they're not going to beat Arizona, San Fran, the Rams, or Tampa.
The seasons could
So-
spiral there. Matt Rule might not survive that stretch if they don't start 2-1.
That is so tough.
If you're 2-1 or 3-0 and then you lose those four, he's got a shot, because then you're going to Atlanta and then home against Atlanta in a 3-week stretch. So there's a chance if they start 3-0 that they could be hovering around 500 at this point. But I agree with all of our picks so far. So I think it's more likely that it's 3-8 or 3-9.
What do you think
Didn't they-
Rule was thinking when he saw the schedule come out and he saw that stretch and he's just like, oh, I'm screwed?
Weren't they last in their division last year? Like, that seems like a hard last place schedule to play.
That's
Yeah. And the crazy part is, I don't think that Tampa, to me, isn't going to be what they have been in the years past. So the NFC South isn't like a super strong division.
No.
And to be this bad in that division is not a great sign for Matt Rule heading into year 3.
If
They had
Brady
good
would have
defense.
stayed retired, that could have probably been a 8-win division potentially.
Yeah, they have a good defense, so that might save them for these games. Some of these games, maybe a couple upsets, but it doesn't seem likely.
Yeah, I don't expect them to lose every game we've said so far, but it's hard to pick them. So
Right. Exactly.
We're through the bye week. Now we're going to Seattle.
Panthers.
I think Seattle's probably the worst team in the NFL. Well, there's
Yeah.
a few.
I think we gave them 2 wins. I don't
Yeah.
remember if this was one of them, but
Probably.
we're going with Panthers.
4-9 home against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Steelers.
Yeah, they're just so much better coached than
Yeah.
the Steelers.
4-10 home against
I'll take the Lions.
the Detroit.
All right, I'll go Lions also. Big year for the Lions.
4-11 at Tampa Bay, and then at New Orleans to finish out the year. Did I freeze? Is that why you're looking at me like that?
Yeah. On my
Yeah.
screen, you are. I don't know if it is for Rob.
Yeah, same here. But it's at Tampa Bay and at New Orleans to close out the season. I'm gonna say they lose both.
I can't pick them to beat. Yeah, I'm with you. I just don't see it happening. I think the Saints and the Bucks are clearly the best teams in that division.
I think it could be a team that ends up quitting on the coach at some point too. Just like
That is tough. I feel for you, Matt Rule, and Baker.
yeah.
Feel for
What
him.
we have 4 wins.
Job in the first place. He never beat anyone.
That's true. I still
What
feel
do you
bad
think
for him.
the over? What do you think the over/under is for the Carolina Panthers?
5.5, maybe.
6.5.
It's 5.5. Ryan hit it right.
I was trying to
on
give him
the
a
head.
little extra credit, but yeah.
That's tough.
That's probably one I
So-
wouldn't touch because I mean I could see them hitting 6
Yeah, I agree.
wins, but like it's probably going to be right around that 4, 5, 6 range.
They're probably going to beat teams like the Ravens and the Bengals, and then lose to all the teams, the bad teams.
They'll win a few that they're not supposed to. They'll probably blow one that they shouldn't. I could see them coming right in at 6, at 5 or 6. They're gonna be right on that number. That's just too strong of a number. I wouldn't recommend betting either way on that one personally.
All right.
We
all
got 3 listener questions to get to. So I will let Ryan take it over, and then, like I said, we will be doing for the remainder of the Spin the Wheels. We will be doing a special episode. That way, we get to provide our guests for the win-loss record of every team.
All right. So our first listener question comes from Dylan Irby. He is our friend, and he sent it in via. I don't even know. How did you guys get this? Did he text one of you guys?
I believe he texted me. This was a little while ago, so we're finally fitting it in here. I believe it was a text. Yes.
All right. Sorry, Irby, for the delay. But we're gonna get this in. So his question was, what is one bust-proof player that's not like an elite talent guy? So not one of the obvious picks, but someone
he wants it to be a not obvious player.
Okay, and I'll go first if you're okay with that, Rob.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So the bust-proof player that I picked is actually, you know what? I'm going to read his stats first, and I'm going to let the listeners think about it. So wide receiver 65 right now in ADP on Sleeper, 163rd overall. He's still younger than 26, so he's 25 years old. Has only finished behind wide receiver 65 once in his 3 years in the NFL, and that was his rookie year. Last year, he was peppered with 126 targets and had his worst yards per target since he's been in the league. Only scored 2 touchdowns, and yet he still finished as the wide receiver 30 in PPR. So this guy is getting none respect. He averaged about 11 to 11.5 points per game. I'll explain why I have that in there. And his floor was about 8 points per game if you take out his worst game, which was against Carolina, ironically, where he had 1 catch on 4 targets for 8 yards. And then I'll throw in that I'm going to disregard the Bills game because they didn't throw the ball that game. So if that gives it away, the player is Jacoby Myers. This guy, his ceiling is about a 20-point game. I mean, it was last year. He had like a 22-point game somewhere in there. A bunch of 14, 18. He's clearly getting no respect being drafted as the wide receiver 65 and finishing as the wide receiver 30 last year. A funny little tidbit, tiddlywink, is that he finished ahead of A.J. Brown last year. I couldn't say that without laughing. Oh, man, make myself.
Tiddlywink or A.J. Brown?
Both jokes. All right. So if in order for him to finish as the wide receiver 65, I don't get this. This is why I say he's bust proof, because there's no way he's finishing worse than his ADP. And he was so consistent last year, finishing between 8 points per game and like 16. But the wide receiver 65 last year was Brian Edwards. He was awful. He had 34 catches for 571 yards and 3 touchdowns. So as long as he gets more than 34 catches for 571 yards and 3 touchdowns, he's projected to beat his ADP. So there's just, and it's funny because after I did all this research on Jacoby, I instantly went and sent a trade offer for him because I was like, I mean, the dude's probably free. I think he was drafted in the 14th round of our startup dynasty.
What'd you offer for him?
Gesicki, let's see, I have it right here. I offered Gesicki and Dontrell Hilliard for Jacoby Myers in a 23 second. So I was obviously I was buying in a little bit high there, or low. I was going in low, trying to get that second, but we'll see if I get a counter, if it just gets declined or what. But
no response yet.
No response yet.
Who is it? Call him out.
I don't know if it's Borzi. How do we say this name? W Borzi. I'm guessing his last name is Borzi.
W Borzi. Yeah, that sounds right.
Borzi.
Well, Borzi, bro, you got to respond to your trade offers. If you don't like it, then decline it. If you think it's close, then make it then counter with something. Don't just leave it. That's the most annoying thing that anybody can do. All right, I'm done.
Maybe he hasn't looked at it yet.
No, that's fine. I'm saying if you looked at it and you haven't responded in any way, and all you do is you look at it and you go, yeah, I don't like that trade, I'm not going to respond. Don't be that guy.
All right, so everybody, next offer you get from Ultraflex Ryan, sit on it for about 24 hours. See how he takes it.
I won't take it well.
All right, I like it. Roberto, what do you have?
All right. So kind of in the same way that Ryan was talking, just the way we decided to answer this question was a guy we thought had no way of not beating his ADP, basically.
Yeah.
So my bust-proof player is currently going as the running back 53. He finished last year as the running back 49, which was the worst of his career. That player is Nyheim Hines, running back for the Colts. He has never had fewer than 40 catches in a season. Obviously, he's not a guy who's going to, carry the load should Jonathan Taylor go down, but you could expect to see a bump in his carries, I think, as well as he'll be on the field more, so he should catch more passes. There's been talk from the coaches about getting him more involved. I believe Frank Reich, their coach, even said he's a guy you want on your fantasy team this year, and we know coaches say stuff, but sometimes you got to listen to him. So his career best finish, which surprised me. I mean, I do remember he had a season where I think he caught, I had it here somewhere. Yeah, 63 catches, but his career best finish was running back 15. I don't know that he'll hit that ceiling, but if he can catch 63 passes, he has a chance. Another point I wanted to bring up on him was that these pass catching running backs that are, kind of undersized seem to stick around the league for a while and play longer than some of the other bigger running backs. I think he is a perfect bye week filler type player for your roster that doesn't cost you a lot, whether it's in trade or in our startup we just did. I got him at pick 14.9. So you're not missing out on too much at that point. And I think he's the type of player that's pretty much a guarantee to get you at least a few catches a game should you need him off your bench. So that is my bust-proof player.
So you're telling me that we just gave 2 14-round picks in our in this segment here?
He was your 14?
You said he was your 14. Yeah, you said you got him at 14.9, and I said
14.9.
Jacoby Myers went at 14.2.
Perfect.
That's pretty cool. All
right, Anthony's 14th round pick coming up here.
No, so I was gonna do. I a quarterback, but I thought that was maybe a little bit too easy. My first thought was going to be Derek Carr, just because I feel like everyone always looks down on Derek Carr and the addition of Devontae Adams and a healthy Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow, and just the fact that every team in that division is going to score 4,000 points, that there's almost no way he can't have a top 7 quarterback year, especially last episode we talked about how he had the fifth most passing yards, but just couldn't get the ball in the end zone. So I think he'll correct some of that. So that's where my head initially went. But I'm going to choose, and I didn't have the same philosophy, or maybe this philosophy scares me about beating your ADP, but I'm going to be a little bit of a homer and choose Gabe Davis. But really, by doing that, I'm buying Josh Allen. And I say that because if Josh Allen stays healthy, he's going to have roughly 4,500 passing yards. He had 4,400 last year. He's probably going to have a similar year this year. Yeah. We know Stephon Diggs, if he stays healthy, he's going to have roughly 1,000 to 1,200 of that. And from last year's team, Cole Beasley's gone. Emmanuel Sanders is gone. Someone needs to get the other 3,000-ish yards. And the way that Gabe Davis ended last year, excuse me, the fact that he is the big receiver, the red zone threats, he's going to score touchdowns this year, and the fact that the Bills haven't really addressed the running back position as far as someone to take away the red zone carries other than Josh Allen, makes me believe that Gabe Davis, although he's being drafted high and there's a lot of hype there, I don't see a way for him to not meet that potential because of the Bills' offense, maybe a little bit more so than Gabe Davis.
The word out of camp is that he's uncoverable.
Yeah, I heard he's gained 17 pounds of pure muscle. He's just shredded out of his mind. I think he's just going to manhandle people.
His legs are huge. Yeah, I do want to point out though, where his ADP is crazy is in the best ball leagues.
Oh,
he's going at overall pick 40. He's not going anywhere close to that in dynasty startups, or I think even season long leagues. There's a little bit of, I think, disconnect there where I think so many of the, Twitter experts have said, Gabe Davis is a sell now because his ADP is too high. And I think it's kind of carried over into the season long in dynasty leagues where he's fallen down a little bit. So
I think he's definitely getting.
Go ahead.
No, I think he's getting a lot of hype. So I think he has a lot to live up to. But I think because of all the reasons that we've mentioned, or I mentioned, there's no reason he shouldn't do that. So we'll see what happens.
I'm fine with that pick. Yeah, I love Gabe Davis.
All right. Question number 2.
Question number 2 comes from the Twitter machine, and it is from, I want to say this right, Fantasy Wizza. I don't know. It just looks like the way it would be said.
At Fantasy Wizza.
At Fantasy Wizza. What's an unknown fantasy position category statistic that you see taking over standard leagues in the future that isn't around now? Now, I want to give his reply because he actually shared some input with us. So his is to be getting an additional points, whether it be 1.5 times, 2 times, etc., on yards, catches, touchdowns, or touchdowns for players in games in the fourth quarter under 5 minutes that are within 8 points. So basically, crunch time, the game's close, the plays matter. You're giving extra points to players making plays in that time because it actually matters. He said, why? It adds a clutch real factor to fantasy and rewards players playing on good teams and in good games. Also makes garbage time points less important and valuable. Nothing more frustrating than when their QB finishes with the same points as yours from 2 meaningless touchdowns at the end. So I just thought that was interesting. I don't know how you would implement that, but I think I would be down for trying it in the future. What do you
What do
guys
we call? We call it a crunch time bonus or something. The crunch
Yeah.
time bonus or the clutch bonus.
Maybe we'll call it
honestly,
the Wizza
I
bonus.
100%
bonus.
agree, because there's nothing more frustrating than someone get garbage time touchdown and then all of a sudden they pull ahead in your matchup. And if I haven't played it in a year or two, but if you play like fantasy hockey, there's a game-winning goal stat. It's, one of the categories. So maybe along those lines, like the game-winning touchdown gives you a 5-point bonus or something along those lines. So I agree that there should be something said for clutch or close games versus garbage time.
Yeah. So to answer his question, which was just what's an unknown fantasy position category statistic that you see taking over standard leagues in the future that isn't around now. I'm going to, without trying to just promote our brand, like honestly, truthfully, Ultraflex is awesome. And we'll go over it again, or I'll go over it again, but Ultraflex is having a starting quarterbacks, a super flex position, and then 8 flex positions with a tight end, a 1.5 tight end premium. It allows you to not draft, like you can avoid an entire position. It is awesome. You go into a draft, and I literally went into this last draft thinking I'm not going to draft a single running back, and I'm only going to take like any tight end that drops real far, which is why I got Gesicki and I got a few others that are like young guys. But I know he said position category statistic, but to me it's the Ultraflex position setting.
Yeah, I think it's a position.
Right.
Just settings for it. Yeah.
That's how I'm answering the question. But like nobody likes to reach on running backs, and in this format, you don't have to. Like, why? And what was weird was that when we did this most recent Ultraflex draft, I kind of expected running backs to fall, but they really didn't. Like, people still went after the running backs. It was bizarre to me, and I don't know if they did that because they're just not used to the format. But I felt like I was getting juicy wide receivers just falling to me. I was just grabbing at them like free money. It felt I don't know. That's the way I love drafting, though. Juicy. I love drafting wide receivers and getting my quarterbacks early, and I was able to do all that and get a stud tight end in Gesicki, which stud tight end, but nobody likes drafting tight end either unless you're getting one of the top 5. But you don't have to in this format, like unless they're a significant value later in the draft. I don't know. I just love the Ultraflex format.
Shouldn't fantasy football be about having fun too?
Yeah.
And what's more fun than drafting a team you love?
Right.
The Ultraflex format gives you the freedom to draft whoever you want, whenever you want. Obviously, you need to get at least one quarterback. That's the only position you have to grab.
Right.
But even if you only get one, you don't have to necessarily have a second one. You just wouldn't have a bye week replacement. But again, it just comes back to the freedom to draft whoever you want, whenever you want, and have fun with it. And that's what fantasy football should be about.
Absolutely. All right. We have 2 other ones. I'm gonna go with one though. We're gonna save another one for the next. Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
I was thinking about his question there, and it made me kind of think it would be cool if the NFL adapted the fantasy portion of like kicking. So how cool would it be if at the last 2 minutes of a game, if a 30-yard field goal between 30 and 39 yards was 3 points, 40 to 49 was 4, and then 50 and so on and so forth. Because how many times is a game ruined by someone getting, kneeling out the clock when they're up by 4? But it would be a lot more exciting if you could just kick a 55-yard field goal and potentially win the game. So I don't know. This game,
that would be pretty wild.
That'd be something. That would change the game completely.
How long until NFL teams just start working out kickers like crazy to get them to kick like 70-yard field goals for 7 points or something? I don't know how far you go with it, but
yeah, see, that'd be so. The game would never be over. Like there would be no more like 4-minute drive or whatever it is.
Think about where you turn the ball over on a missed 70-yard field goal too.
And think about setting up the kicker, because like 1 yard there makes a lot of difference. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into that. But all right, sorry, go on.
All right. You out of your dreamland now? Okay, here we go.
Yep.
That was cool though. It'd be interesting. So I'm gonna go with this one. It's from Rebecca Wheeler. That's my wife. Because I want to think about the other one a little bit longer. So her question is, if you could only eat one meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, what would it be? Oh, I'm sorry. That's not her question. I can't read. See? So if you could only eat the same 3 meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner each day, what would they be? That changes it entirely.
So it's
So
something different. It's the same breakfast every day, same lunch
Right.
every day, same dinner every day.
Right. So if you pick eggs, then you have to have eggs every day. If you pick, a sandwich, you have to have that for lunch every day.
My answer is going to be the same for both ways you ask that question. Because I could eat cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. And it could be the same cereal. I don't even care.
Wow.
I love cereal. Cereal is my favorite food.
I can't get behind that. Do you use like 2%, 3% almond milk? What do you do?
2%.
Is it the same cereal every time, or you change it up?
No, I always change it up. But I'm saying if I had to, I could eat the same one. But like I have a wide variety from like Special K yogurt all the way to like Fruit Loops with marshmallows in there. So it's like
we just had those. Aurora liked them.
Yeah, I'm saying it could go
They're pretty
wide variety. Any cereal I'm a fan of.
So if you had to pick one cereal, what's the cereal?
It really depends on the mood because I've got like 10, but I don't want to cop out. So probably Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Every day for the rest of your life. All right.
Oh, man. That's rough.
Is that what it was? It was every day for the rest of your life, or how long was this?
Bro, we're pushing to the extreme. It's for the rest of your life. She didn't specify.
Okay.
Now, I can go because I don't know if you're ready or not, but
I got my breakfast food.
Oh, so do I. Okay, what is yours?
I was gonna say eggs. Now, how specific do we need to get with that? It's got to be one type, probably. Like, I'll probably just like fry up an egg sandwich every day. It's fine.
Okay, I was gonna say if you do
throw some
egg,
cheese on it, whatever.
I think you can do scrambled eggs, over easy, poached, like however you want to do an egg. But if you're gonna do like an egg sandwich, I think that's a completely different thing. But so I guess you could just take the egg off your sandwich and eat that if you wanted to. So you're going with egg sandwich?
Yeah. I mean, unless you're saying I can't, but then
No,
you
I'm not
can't
saying
have any
you can't.
kind of sandwich for any other meal, right? So
No, I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying if you went egg, then you can't have egg sandwich.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, I'll go egg sandwich with some cheese on a bagel, I guess.
Oh, I mean, you cover a whole bunch of breakfasts there. That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with French toast. I think I brought this up.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Maybe last episode, but French toast is my go-to.
I didn't even think about that, but that's a great choice.
Yeah, French toast is legit. All right. Oh gosh, Anthony, stop it with your cereal loving
French toast is
head shaking.
Literally, cinnamon toast crunch is French toast, pretty much.
No, it depends on how it's made. Sometimes it's too eggy for me. It's just not good.
Anthony, you got to come to my house and I'll make you some French toast. I put cinnamon on it, just like your cinnamon toast crunch, and it's not super eggy. And I use like good bread. I don't use like, I don't know, generic.
Did you ever do it with like the thick bread? That's good.
Yes, like the artisan bread.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, so lunch. Well, we're really pushing this question out. I feel like if I have French toast for breakfast, I have to have something healthy for lunch, because if I just go like 2 sugary things or whatever, then I'm going to be in trouble. So I think I'm good with, like, I don't really like having lunch, so I'm good with just having some fruit, like just mixed fruit bowl.
Lunch is the worst meal of the day, I think. Yeah. I'm not a fan. Usually I'll just try to have leftovers from like previous dinners. Right. I just don't really have a favorite lunch. I'm struggling with that one. I guess I would just keep it simple, go with like peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah. I'm good with it. Do they make a peanut butter and jelly cereal?
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure
Have you-
it's out there. I don't think it's like a common every.
Have you looked in
day
the
thing.
cereal aisle recently? There's like
There's a
a
lot.
1,000 different choices. It's overwhelming.
It's like
I'm actually
it's like ice cream.
I'm really curious, Anthony. So I have a favorite cereal, and I don't know anybody else that agrees with me. Grape nuts? Anybody?
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, so I don't even know what that is.
All right. Apparently, I'm living in my own little planet here. Well, you should try some grape nuts.
I'll look for it next time at the store.
You have to. You don't have to. Typically, I just put it in the microwave for like a minute because it's very hard. Like the grape nuts are very hard.
All right, you already lost me. I don't want to be breaking my teeth.
That's weird.
That's
All right,
why you put it in the microwave.
How about honeycomb? I think that's my favorite.
I like honeycomb.
Honeycomb's great.
And you have to if you sprinkle a little sugar on the grape nuts too, because they literally have like no sugar in them.
You're making like an oatmeal parfait now. Like you're getting way.
So you have to put the sugar on it because it tastes so bad. Is that what?
No, I don't eat it with sugar personally, but like it tastes better when you do add sugar. So I have eaten it with sugar and it does taste better, but I do like the way it tastes without it.
What's your dinner option?
Well, it's tacos.
I figured that was going to be yours. Mine's pizza, no doubt about it. That's my favorite food. I could eat pizza probably for every. I guess maybe I'd eventually get sick of it for my whole life, but I could eat it for every meal for a while.
I was gonna say if we had to pick one thing for each meal, I was gonna do tacos. So I could do like a breakfast taco and then just a regular taco for lunch, and then like a big burrito taco for dinner. But pizza works the same because you got breakfast pizza. Pizza.
There's probably about 500 different ways to make your pizza, kind of like a taco.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So
what you got, Anthony?
It's got cereal. Like
cereal again? Oh, jeez.
Yeah. This guy. What?
I kept it easy. You guys are going like 9 minutes on this answer here.
Just give us a different cereal for lunch and dinner. What's your second and third?
All right, Cinnamon Toast Crunch to start it off.
See, even the internet shut him off.
Then probably.
It doesn't want to hear what he has to say. He's like, the internet's like, dude, stop. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, no.
All right. For lunch. And then I'd probably end with something healthy before bed. So probably the Special K with yogurt bites.
You got to get your fiber in there, right?
Yeah.
A nice variety of cereals.
Do we have another question? You want to answer another one?
I think that was it for today, right? Because we're saving the other one for next episode.
That was it. That was it for today.
Cool. All right. Maybe I misheard you. I thought you said you had two more.
I did, but I was going to save one for the next podcast.
Perfect. Sounds good to me.
So Anthony's cutting out again.
Next episode will be the special episode.
No, I just want to say thank you to Rebecca, Fantasy Wizza, and Dylan Irby for sending us the questions, and we have actually a couple more coming in. So we're loaded for the next few episodes, and we'll make sure we shout out those that did send us the questions.
Yes, but Anthony, keep sending them in.
Yes, please send them in. We'd love to discuss this stuff, and I don't know, we think it's fun.
Yeah, the more you send, the more we can laugh, right? Hopefully.
That's right. Anthony, please take over. I always mess up the handles, so.
Oh.
And I'll do it because he just glitched out again.
Twitter at Ultraflex FFP. My internet's still acting funny, so I'm going to say it again. At Ultraflex FFP. Next episode, we'll do Spin the Wheel. Pretty soon, we'll be picking MVPs and who's going to win each division and our Super Bowl. So that's coming up. And then before we know it, it'll be week 1, and we'll be placing some bets, talking about who to look at in DraftKings and Underdog. We can get some stardom, sit-em going. So we are almost to football season. You can find me on Twitter at Ultraflex Sutton. You can find Ryan at Ultraflex Ryan, and you can find Rob at Ultraflex Rob. One more time, just in case my internet cut out and you guys couldn't hear me. Our Twitter is Ultraflex FFP. That is our episode. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Ryan, you get the last word.
Toodles.